All right, class, this is our foundation unit vocabulary. This is the vocabulary that you're going to see at the beginning of the year that is going to be helpful for us as we go throughout the school year. Foundation unit vocabulary, first word that we have is continent, so copy down that and then copy down very large land masses. This is very large land masses is just a giant chunk of land where we have everything kind of set up in. They include North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, and Europe. These are our 7 continents that we'll have. Later on, we will label this map. It will look just like this. We'll probably do it after we're done with all the vocabulary. The second word that we have is ocean, and this is a large area of salt water that covers most of the earth. There are 4 major oceans: the Atlantic, Pacific, Arctic, and Indian Oceans. So these 4 oceans are the 4 main ones that we will talk about in many different aspects throughout the school year. Again, we will label this map where they go, but it's Atlantic, Indian, Pacific, and Arctic Ocean up here. So latitude. These are imaginary lines that go east to west and measure distance from north to south. That's probably one of the most difficult definitions for us to remember. The way I remember it is when you say latitude, your mouth tends to stretch left to right or east and west. And that's what happens with latitude, is it stretches around the earth, kind of like a belt. And the belt of the earth is the equator. And what it's doing is it's telling us how far north of the equator we are, that's what these lines are, or how far south. So let's take a look at it on a larger map. On a larger map that has everything west. So when you say longitude, your mouth tends to open up wide like this from top to bottom. The main line of longitude that we have is called the prime meridian, and then we're telling you how far east and west we're going based on how far away from the prime meridian we tend to go. So let's take a look at that map again. Our prime meridian is right here, so if we say we're going east, it's going to be any direction this way, okay? The next one that we have is migration. Migration is the movement of people from one place to another. It's a temporary movement. Birds tend to migrate, and they only migrate for a short amount of time, like during wintertime or during the summertime. People migrate too. Some people's jobs cause them to move around a lot, and technically that's what migration is. Sorry, I took too many papers there. The opposite of migration is immigration. This is the movement of individuals into a country, and it's often a permanent movement. This is how a lot of people came to America and are still coming to America today. We have people that go to other parts of the world as well. Another word that we have is modification. This is a way for people to change their environment to meet their needs. Physically change. Now, think about this. Have you ever seen an island that looks like this? I didn't think so. In other parts of the Middle East, they have so much money and so little land. What they do is they build these custom-made islands, and people live on these. They're modifying the environment to fit their needs. They're changing it to fit their needs. Another word that we have, the opposite of modification, is adaptation. This is a way for you to adjust to your environment to live in it. So think about it. When it's really cold outside, you put a jacket on. So you're adapting to the environment. When it's really warm outside, you put on shorts and a t-shirt because it's going to help you keep cooler. And people in Siberia, it gets so cold there that you could technically even spit and ice will hit before it'll turn to ice before it hits the ground. That's what we're talking about here, is wearing warmer clothes when you live in Siberia so you can stay warm. Another term we have is rural, a place where there are few people. So oftentimes we think this is people living in the country away from everybody. So there's like one single house here and nobody else for miles around. That's rural. The opposite of rural is urban, and it's a place where there are large amounts of people, like Houston, Dallas, New York City, where you have millions of people live there and you may not even know anybody. Our final word that we have is population density. This is a way to measure how many people live in an area. It's measured as amount of people per square mile. So when we say you have a dense population, we're talking about you have a ton of people in one central area, and when we have a very low population density, we're saying there's very few people in that area. So in urban environments, we're going to have a high population density, and in rural environments, we're going to have a low population density. So make sure you get all the vocab words copied down and get ready for your continents and oceans map.